This parking lot was full of law enforcement earlier today after calls came in about a man possibly armed with a gun and knives inside the facility. I'm here on Lois Street where those two were found dead, and this was actually a pretty active scene until recently. The crime scene unit actually just drove off, but all we know about these men is that one was 30 and the other was 47, and that's not news that neighbors like to hear. Most of the vandalism here has already been cleaned up, but the video you're about to see shows a man tagging or spray painting vandalism right here on the side of this building. And I talked to a woman who says she didn't think that man was supposed to be here, and it turns out she was right. Grace, I'm glad to hear you guys are warm inside the studio, because out here it's about 27 degrees. We've been out here a couple minutes now out in front of Walmart. They opened about 6 o'clock yesterday on Thanksgiving, and they'll be running Black Friday deals throughout the rest of the evening today. And even though there are some who are still upset about an apparent blacklist with male students' names on it, some defended that teacher. Marchers are just now coming over from City Hall, and while the goal was to honor the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr., some marchers say the point of this march was something much greater. The case of 2-year-old Samuel Duncan was reopened after Sean O'Byrne was charged with killing his own son Nicholas in late August. A scene out of an action movie. Bounty hunters chasing fugitives down this street right here behind me, and one of the fugitives turning around and shooting back at the bounty hunters. DSP says a child was ejected from the vehicle and is lucky to be alive after she only sustained minor injuries. Well, Gene and Bernie, it's a somber situation here in Montrose County this afternoon. The body of 17-year-old Connor Imus found here in the South Canal. That happened around 2 p.m. this afternoon. Tenants still can't get into the building. In fact, there were work crews here earlier today. Some residents fear they may not get their belongings back after lawyers reached out with a settlement, but the concern is it may not be enough. You think I should just do that?
Do it.
Can I do that?
You can.
All right, fine. I'll give it a shot.
All right. All right. Here he goes. Yeah.
Security video shows the moment a home explodes into flames in Mack.
30 in the morning, I was in the living room drinking coffee. I heard this loud explosion.
Benny Wilson lives nearby. He and his sons ran to see what happened.
It's exploded. I mean, where we entered, there was no wall, but I went into the kitchen.
When they got there,
I heard this lady yell that there's people inside that house.
they bolted into action.
We found an elderly lady in the kitchen, laid under a bunch of rubble.
Running into the burning house.
Flames, smoke all around me, and yeah, it was kind of nerve-wracking to watch my two sons run into them flames.
I was the first one in there. The initial explosion happened in the kitchen, but I had to go in past the living room and into the hallway.
After Brian and his dad helped the woman on the floor, he went looking for others.
And I asked her, I said, is there anybody else in the house? And all she said was, Leroy.
Risking his own life
He took one step and kind of fell into my arms.
to help someone else.
I went back inside to help my father pull the lady out of the house.
And with hardly any time to spare,
I did see the flames around me. I did see the roof caving in.
2 people's lives were saved.
When I found him, the only thought that ran through my head then was either I'm going to get you out of here or we're both going to go up. Because I wasn't going to leave this man alone by himself in there.
No KKK, no fascist USA!
Amongst several Confederate flags, a Nazi flag flies at a house in Fruita.
It's concerning that he's displaying that hateful image so close to very young, impressionable children.
The flag's flying just down the street from an elementary school.
I hope there's people that express anger and sadness and pain at what this guy has done.
Protest organizer Joe Gibson hopes this protest has an impact for everyone.
Really, I want a future where my kids can grow up without Nazis and hate being on our streets.
But on the other side of the street, the argument is,
Do I believe in the swastika behind me? It's part of history. It's the only opinion I have on it.
Paul Delancey thinks the family has a right to fly the flag.
I'm not even here to support flying the flag or not flying the flag. I'm here to protect the family in the defense of their right to fly the flag.
The reason the flag is flying, that's still up in the air.
My understanding is it was as a joke because his mother is Jewish and he was trying to provoke a reaction out of her.
But other flags were flying high.
You have a flag across the street that is an American flag they turned into a rainbow. According to the U.S. Constitution, that's desecration of a flag.
Everybody should be able to be who they want to be, and if the neighbor wants to fly that flag, that's his prerogative, you know.
For Trey, the Nazi flag is a little much.
Once you get to the point of it being hatred, it's something that, you know, at least someone should say something else about it.
But he admits his neighbor,
They're completely protected by the Constitution.
has his rights.
Would I love for them not to have the flag up? Yes.
As the sun goes down on this Fruita block, the question remains, will the flags still fly?
Shouldn't be something that people are just proud of.
Do the right thing and to punish her for the list.
Students at Fruita Monument High School walking out of class.
We are motivated by friendship and love. We will not be divided.
In protest of a teacher who students say made a blacklist of male students that girls shouldn't date.
She was using her power as a staff member to get at those people.
Miss Bournet was put on administrative leave Monday, but some students want more.
If the genders were flipped, the male teacher or coach would be fired immediately. So that's what we want.
A lot of people are saying we're out here for nothing. We're wasting time. I don't think so.
Lyle here is a junior. He's worried his name could be on the list.
Your future employer sees it. He could be upset about it.
It was hard for him to see the video of the teacher talking about a blacklist.
Somebody who's supposed to help us grow to the best human beings we can possibly be is out here trying to hurt their students. They're trying to hurt kids.
Some of the girls say the teacher's actions are unnecessary.
I've never been harassed by any males here.
She thinks the guys at her school didn't deserve this kind of treatment.
To put them on that list and ruin their reputation as being a good guy is not okay.
We tried reaching out to Miss Bournet ourselves, but didn't get an answer.
This is a teacher.
Okay, she's a human.
Some students take a different stance.
I know for a lot of girls, we came to Miss Bournet for advice. We love her.
Liberty says this isn't worth putting a teacher on blast.
Where we're trying to take it, it's over for her. And I feel like a lot of the kids here don't get that.
And she's willing to forgive and forget.
I'm not supporting what she did at all. 100% don't support it, but I support her.
The big question, does the blacklist actually exist? D51 says there's a chance.
Based on more information from certain people, we believe that it is possible that there is or was a list. We just don't know for sure because we haven't seen it.
About 3:30 this morning, we heard this commotion underneath of the house.
Sue owns Pegasus out in Mac, a pig sanctuary. And early in the morning, she found a visitor.
Somebody just opened the gate and dropped it off.
An abandoned pig let loose.
It evidently stayed hid under the house because it was scared, and we did not see it.
The pig broke a water line under the house and went after another older pig.
Just turned 18 this summer.
What Sue found later was grim.
She was laying on the ground, dead.
And that wasn't the only victim.
Another pig had its ear ripped up and had some blood on it.
Sue says whoever dropped off the abandoned pig mixed it in with the wrong crowd.
Whomever left this pig put it in with our elderly arthritic pigs.
The pigs are separated for a reason.
Its only place that it could go was under the house to get away from everybody else that was ganging up on it.
She's not upset with the pig.
You can't blame the animal for what has happened because it's instinct.
And says the blame lies with the person who dropped it off so callously.
You have to blame the human.
Now, Sue wants justice for herself and the pigs.
At least admit that they did it and deal with it accordingly.
And they said, well, too bad.
Frustrated tenants are getting restless after they were kicked out of the asbestos-filled Driftwood apartments.
They don't even want to talk to me. They told me that, well, you need to get a lawyer to represent you.
Timothy says his roommate agreed to a settlement from lawyers for contaminated property.
She told me that they gave her $8,000 to settle out and for everything in the apartment.
But he says his property was worth more and has a theory.
I think they coerced her and kind of lied to her to trick her into getting it.
They offered me a settlement, but it wasn't enough to cover all my losses, so I did not accept it.
This resident asked we hide her identity, but says she was offered a $12,500 settlement.
The owners to the apartment complex and the manager are all hiding behind their lawyers.
Lawyers for the property owners say asbestos and the method used for asbestos cleanup can damage some of the tenant's personal property, and soft surface items like couches will not be returned to the owner because they can't be cleaned.
What we've said to everyone is list the stuff you'd like to have retrieved. Keep in mind it can only be hard surface, and we will get the permission of this contractor, and we'll pay for it, to clean your items.
But some tenants say,
I've lost about $50,000 worth of my belongings.
that's not good enough.
They're not willing to return anything to me, and there's a storage unit out back there that they're just filling with our belongings.
While we couldn't tell what was in the storage unit, tenants say they've been kept in the dark by property management.
There's just a voicemail message. You can leave a message, but nobody calls back.